Welcome to another episode of Ask Better Questions. In today's episode, I'll be mixing it up a bit with a state of AI currently and projections for where the industry is headed. But before we kick into the episode, I'd like to take a moment to thank our sponsor, Color4 Solutions. Now, with my standard disclosure, I am a director at Color4 Solutions, and we are the people to speak to if you're looking for independent advice on AI implementations, or if you're in the market to automate or implement AI in any of your business processes. Be sure to reach out. Links are in the description. So today's episode will be broken into three parts loosely. Where AI came from, so a bit of the history of AI, where we are currently, a current state of where the industry is at, and where we go from here. So I guess where we came from in relation to AI, a bit of a brief history lesson, if you will. The history of artificial intelligence can be traced back to ancient times where philosophers and mathematicians pondered the possibility of creating intelligent machines. However, it wasn't until the 20th century that AI began to develop into a serious field of scientific inquiry. So in 1950, Alan Turing published a landmark paper in which he proposed a test for machine intelligence known as the Turing test. Turing also laid the foundation for many of the core concepts in AI, such as symbolic reasoning and machine learning. So in 1956, a group of researchers led by John McCarthy held a workshop at Dartmouth College to discuss the possibility of creating intelligent machines. Now, this workshop is widely considered to be the birth of the AI field of academic study. So during the early years of AI research, researchers focused on developing programs that could solve specific problems, such as playing games like chess or proving mathematical theorems. However, it soon became clear that this approach was not going to be able to produce general purpose AI systems that could think and reason like a human being. In the 1980s and 90s, AI researchers experienced a period of decline, which is known as sort of the AI winter. This was due to a number of factors, including difficulty of developing general-purpose AI systems and overhyping of AI capabilities in the early years. However, in recent years, AI has experienced a resurgence, thanks in large part to advances in machine learning and deep learning. Machine learning algorithms allow AI systems to learn from data without being explicitly programmed. And deep learning algorithms are a type of machine learning algorithm that is inspired by the structure of the human brain. So today's AI is used in so many different applications, including self-driving cars, facial recognition software, medical diagnosis systems. The list goes on. So AI is also being used to develop new products, services such as virtual assistants and chatbots, and also stemming into more creative fields. So it's being used to, write scripts or write prompts for entertainment. It's being used to create special effects in advertisements and things like that. So the creative pursuits were an industry that was traditionally thought of as to be resistant to technological advances, at least in automation. So that brings us to where the AI industry is today. So today, it's a very, very dynamic and transformative technology. It's already having a major impact on our world, and the impact is only going to grow in the years to come. So AI is currently being used in a wide range of industries. It's being used to develop new products, services. But at this point in time, the industry itself is quite small. The global AI market is expected to reach about $1.5 trillion in the next 5 to 10 years. Now, this growth is being driven by a number of factors, including increasing availability of data, the declining cost of computing power, and the development of new AI algorithms. This is sort of a perfect storm where we are at the moment. We have the ability to get access to more data than the world has almost ever seen before in electronic form that's easily ingestible to algorithmic models. Computing power has come down enormously and continues to come down in cost. Data storage has come down in cost. generally speaking, this is perfect conditions for an industry like the AI industry. The rapid growth has raised some concerns, however. And when you're a politician holding a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. So there have been calls to regulate the industry potentially before it's actually got out of the gate. AI systems can be used for malicious purposes, absolutely. You can develop autonomous weapons or creating deep fakes or misinformation, which is the catch cry of the day. But there's also viruses impersonating and using it for spoof emails and phishing exercises, and also people manipulation. So the propaganda can be, AI can assist in the creation of propaganda. So as a result, governments have decided that yes, we should regulate, we should act. There have been calls, mostly from other politicians, to regulate the industry, but also from industry participants. The head of OpenAI has come forward and testified to Congress, yes, please regulate us. A number of countries are already developing AI regulations, and the European Union, as mentioned last week, is expected to pass its landmark AI Act this year. So very shortly, in fact. So that comes with a few benefits for the AI industry. There are a number of potential benefits. Regulation can help reduce the harm from AI systems, protect privacy and data security, promote fairness and equality in the AI industry, and ensure the AI systems are used for good. Good in a sense that it can set down guidelines for how to use AI systems. In terms of good is a relative term, and if you've ever studied ethics, in a sense, it can get very murky. But at this point, there are costs also associated with regulating the AI industry. It's regulation typically discourages innovation. It makes it more difficult for AI companies to compete, and it increases the costs of developing and deploying AI systems, particularly if there are different regulatory environments around the globe. Some people may not have access to the best AI tools by virtue of where they are geographically. So the decision on whether to regulate or not regulate the AI industry is complex. There are both potential benefits and costs that we've mentioned above and others. It's important to weigh those benefits and costs carefully before making decisions about regulation, but it's going to be inevitable that the industry itself is going to be regulated in one way, shape, or form. Whether that's government regulation or self-regulation, typically I always, being more libertarian in my beliefs, I believe and lean towards self-regulation. But that said, when it comes to investors and the like, they like to see government legislation regulating industries. So I feel that is the likely future. What that's going to cost us, it's the economist in me says you can't tell what the future costs will be, but you can see what you have currently. Typically, we will see a reduction in innovation and the like once regulations are introduced, or we will see a shift in innovation towards areas that are not as regulated or are regulated to a point and no further. So in terms of that, you'll see innovation in areas for customer protection and stuff like that. So I think one of the EU rules is that everyone should know if they're speaking to an artificial intelligence or communicating with an artificial intelligence. That sort of technology, because AIs are getting so good at pretending to be human, this is the sort of thing that I feel is going to be the future in the industry and an industry standard. So I believe that some regulation in the AI industry is necessary to protect people from potential harms. However, it's important to regulate the way in which regulate in a way that doesn't stifle innovation or hinder the development of AI terribly. One way to do this is to focus on regulating the application of AI rather than the technology itself. For example, we could regulate the use of AI in autonomous weapons, or we could leave AI companies free to develop new AI algorithms. Other ways to regulate the AI industry would be to focus on principles rather than specific rules. For example, we could regulate AI companies based on principles such as fairness, transparency, and accountability, and this would allow AI companies to innovate and develop new applications for AI while still ensuring these applications are used responsibly. Typically, though, the bad actors will avoid or just disregard regulation. So in terms of that, you can expect rogue states to continue to use autonomous weapons with AI. You can expect various governments around the world to use AI specifically for propaganda purposes, and it will become increasingly difficult to detect these things. However, typically a lot of humans have already figured out that if something is on the internet, it's not necessarily true. So that said, we do have our inbuilt BS detectors, and they will over time become attuned to these things. That said, there are still those people out there who believe the moon landings were faked because it's on the internet. So what's in store? What does the future of AI hold and herald for the rest of us? So if we're looking at 5 to 15 years, and anything more than that is just pie in the sky stuff, we can't really tell what's coming beyond that. But in the next 5 to 10, maybe 15 years, we can expect to see AI become more powerful, more sophisticated. AI systems will be able to learn and adapt more quickly, and they will be able to perform tasks that are currently beyond the reach of human intelligence. AI is also expected to become more pervasive in our lives. AI will be embedded in a wide range of devices and products, from our smartphones to our cars and our homes. There are some examples of what we might expect to see in the next 5 to 15 years. Self-driving cars. Now, I know that a lot of experts have said they're coming within 5 years, 3 years, 2 years, 5 years again, and that is a moving target. But we can expect to see those. They will be safer, more efficient than human-driven vehicles, and they will be on the roads within the next 15 years for sure. AI-powered medical diagnosis systems will become more accurate and reliable. This could lead to earlier detection and treatment of diseases. AI-powered virtual assistants will become more capable and helpful. They will be able to understand our natural language and perform a wide variety of tasks for us. AI-powered robots will become more sophisticated and capable, and they will be able to perform tasks that are currently too dangerous or difficult for humans to do. So AI will be used to develop new products and services that we can't even imagine at this point today. So I guess one of the issues, I think, is also that creative tasks will become more AI-driven. At this point in time, 20 years ago, everyone thought that automation was going to remove truck drivers and going to remove factory workers and the like. And to be honest with you, what we've found in more recent times is that the truck drivers and the factory workers are not people in higher learning, are the ones that are more protected from AI, because a lot of times these roles are not cost effective to remove at this point. But the higher end things like lawyers, accountants, and doctors, we can remove a lot of the touch points for these people because they charge by the hour hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, and AI can do most of what they bring to the table relatively effectively and relatively quickly. So researching legal precedents and things like that, AIs can go through so much more data than a lawyer can in such a short time frame, making lawyers more effective. Paul Krugman has said, productivity isn't everything, but in the long run, it's almost everything, meaning AI can be used to increase the productivity of existing resources at the moment, and we are a fair distance away from having all our jobs disappear and a universal basic income, as some people have said will happen. We're going to be using AI a lot in the sorts of fields that we thought were not going to be touched by automation. And we're going to see that whilst AI-driven cars are possible, we're not going to see, I guess, the drivers of trucks disappear overnight. Not in the next 2 or 3 years, possibly in the next 5 to 10. Almost certainly after 10 to 15 years, you will start seeing a more automated distribution process, which will be interesting. Will be interesting to see. So what does this mean? Like, what are the potential benefits of this new future? So AI has the potential to revolutionize a lot of things. AI can help us develop new and more effective treatments for disease. It can advance scientific research enormously. It can help create more efficient and sustainable energy systems. AI can help us develop new transportation and logistics systems that will reduce traffic congestion and pollution. One of the things that I've seen AI being used as a sort of as a crutch for city planning and designing better and more efficient systems for city planning. AI can help us automate many tasks that are currently done by humans, freeing up our time for more creative and fulfilling activities. Now, that last point there is the one that most people are worried about, that we're going to lose a lot of jobs to AI. I believe that history has shown that, and you know, you can point to the stocking looms and Luddites and the like, but history has shown even in more recent times, people were worried that we were going to lose so many jobs to the internet and so many jobs to computing. And what we've seen is that we've actually had people move into different roles within organizations, and a lot of the drudgery has been taken out and automated by computers and by the internet and the like. That said, a lot of the information you're getting from me, you could Google, but there is a point to coming to a person such as myself for digesting not just the information, but what it might mean to somebody like yourself. So AI has these potential benefits, but there are also these risks. AI, of course, can develop weapon systems. It could kill human beings without intervention. It could create computer viruses. It could shut down systems. It could create propaganda like deepfakes. It could spread misinformation. It could lead to job displacements and social inequality. And it could be used to manipulate and control people en masse. Now, it is important to be aware of these potential risks and to take steps to mitigate them. For example, we need to develop ethical guidelines for the development and use of AI, and those are in the works at the moment. I'm not exactly happy with where they are at, but that's it. That is a conversation for another podcast. We also need to invest in education and training programs to help people adapt to changing job markets. So prompt engineer wasn't a job 3 years ago, and now it is a job. The future of AI, I guess, is quite bright, but it's also important to be aware of potential risks because there are spots on the horizon. I don't believe it's going to end at a point where there are haves and have-nots en masse, meaning there is a very small percentage of people that have access to AI and everyone else is just without a job. But by developing AI responsibly and mitigating the potential risks, we can ensure AI is a positive force. We have seen it with the computer revolution and more recently the internet revolution, that access to the internet, when it's democratized and everyone has computers and smartphones and things like that, we actually end up with better outcomes. I think AI will be much the same. As long as we don't stop people's access to AI, but rather use AI for good purposes, then it will be a force for good. But currently, what seems to have been happening is that it's being used to create adult entertainment and virtual girlfriends and things like that. And I suppose a lot of technology does start there. Video and the internet was started in that sort of a way. But I guess what we need to be sure of is where it ends up is not a result of the lowest common denominator, but we should be aiming to try and push the boundaries of scientific endeavor and development and culture. And a lot of that work is being done currently right now. I believe AI has the potential to make the world a better place. AI can be used to solve some of the world's most pressing problems: climate change, disease, scientific endeavor. AI can also be used to improve our quality of life in many ways. So it is important to develop and use AI responsibly. We need to ensure AI systems are aligned with our values and they are used for good. We also need to take steps to mitigate those potential risks, and I am very optimistic about the future of AI. I believe AI can help us create a better world and will help us create a better world. It's what you and I, the decisions that we make from this day forward in relation to AI, that will make that difference. So that about wraps it up. Today's podcast was brought to you again by Color4 Solutions. If you have questions or comments, please reach out in the links in the description. If you like the podcast, leave a rating and review, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. I'm Peter Adams, and I'll be here next week to ask better questions.